Hey folks, today we're looking at a brand that is very prevalent over here in the UK that I did run into in the US, but only once or twice. So maybe they're trying to get established there and haven't yet, except for a couple of models here and there. But this is Fazley, F-A-Z or Z-L-E-Y Classic Series. This is the Burled maple top natural Tele style guitar. Here's the back. So it's got a top cap or veneer probably. Don't know if it's photo or if it's actual wood. But it looks pretty enough. I like the black pick guard on these. It's got black binding around it, a rosewood board or something similar. Could be amaranth or something. And you know, the very usual kind of fixings with the tuners, string trees, 2 on a saddle, so 3 saddles, barrel saddles, you know, kind of bog standard. This is straight out of the box. I'm going to be doing that sans unwrapping video. So this is straight out of the box. The action is pretty decent. It's around 4 3, that's millimeters on the 12th fret. So minimal action adjustment. The neck is dead straight. Might need just a touch more relief in it, but it's playing quite well. And the frets are pretty clean. So for a sub 100 pound guitar, which is what this is on Amazon at the moment, this is actually a lot better than some of the $100 Strats and Teles that I got in the US. I'm thinking of many different brands, you know, from Indio to Donna to Glary to, gosh, there's a few of them that have escaped my mind now. And almost always they need attention on the neck, particularly on the frets. Now what I might be seeing here is the fact that in the US, in Colorado where I lived and where I was shooting videos for the first 4 or 5 years of this channel, I was in a very dry climate. So when things got shipped to me, the fretboards tended to dry out, and there was almost always had some sort of fret sprout to deal with. Even on expensive guitars, on higher end guitars, always had to clean up the frets or fret ends. I have nothing to do on this one, and it may be but it's because I'm living in a more humid environment now, and I'm not getting the same kind of shrinkage with these fretboards, and possibly other issues on acoustic guitars as well. So that's kind of a nice thing to not have to deal with as much. I'm sure I'll get some of it. So yeah, this is kind of an entry level, but it feels actually pretty good. And I think for the price, which is around 80, 90 pounds, 100 pounds, possibly it fluctuates, this is quite decent. I prefer it with a maple board, but this board is pretty decent. The pickups seem okay. Obviously, with these kinds of guitars, a lot of people are going to mod them. They're going to switch out pickups. They're going to improve parts. I can see somebody doing that with the tuners and probably the pickups on this, but they're not the worst pickups that I've encountered. Everything works as far as the tone difference between the pickups, volume and tone knob works really well. It did come with a very cheap guitar cable. However, the disappointing thing about this, Fazley, you need to clean this up, is no gig bag. So it just ships in a box with the cable, which is nice, but absolutely no gig bag. Again, I know you've heard this from me a few times now, don't understand why these companies, when they can get gig bags for pennies on the pound, Can't just include one with the shipment. And this came in a very flimsy box, so the gig bag would actually help protect the guitar while it's being shipped. Fortunately, I got away with the shipping. There are no real issues with this. So there's no damage to talk about. Other things I can tell you is the neck is extremely rough. It doesn't even feel like it's been smooth sanded with, let's say, 600, 1000 grit. I mean, it's nice. It doesn't catch, so I like it. But those of you who like a really smooth neck, this is kind of rough sanded. I don't mean just with 60 or 120 grit. I mean, it's only being sanded up to about 400-600 and not fine sanded, which I don't mind because it's not too slick to where your hands catch on it. It's got that, a lot of people scuff off the back of the neck anyway because they don't like it too smooth or too polished. So it's very rough on the back of the neck, which is good. Here's the headstock shape on this. You can tell it's, I don't know, it's different enough from Fender to not get in trouble. And again, here's a close-up of that finish. It does look like it does have a center seam, so it's book matched. I want to say this is actually a veneer, but it could be a photo finish. But it looks to me like it might be a veneer. So I hope it is. But at this price, you can't really complain. So yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about this for the price. It's under £100, probably under $100 if you can get it in the US. And there's very little to complain about. It's got a good weight to it as well. So yeah, it's probably a piece of ash under there, and this is supposed to be burled ash, I think. So it's got this veneer. It's got a some sort of I'm not sure if that is rosewood. I'll have to check the specs. I'm going to do a follow-up video after setting this up, so I'll let you know for sure. But all the usual things, people might want to upgrade the pickups and the tuners and the string trees. But apart from that, this is a good entry-level instrument. You could play it as is. It plays just fine. It sounds pretty decent. The pickups are a decent output. The switches and knobs all work correctly. And it doesn't look like it's overly cheap material on the bridge and bridge plate. So, it can be upgraded, but it's pretty decent. It looks like also that it has been set up relatively recently. Sometimes when you buy these really cheap guitars, you see a bit of rust on the fretboard, on the frets. I'm not seeing that. In fact, I'm not seeing any sort of dullness at all. They look fairly recently finished. So that's a good sign that these aren't just sitting in a warehouse not selling. So again, this is the Fazley Classic Series Burled Ash Natural Tele. And I have to say that it's relatively surprisingly good for being under £100. So you can pick these up on UK Amazon. I'm not sure if you can get these in the US. I have seen Fazley in the US, but only with acoustic instruments. So maybe they're coming. Things change fast on the online market. So yeah, this is one of the first budget electrics to look at over here, and so far so good. This needs very little setup and would be a good mod platform. So there you go, Fazley electric Tele style guitar. When I set it up, I'll probably do a follow-up on this, but pretty impressive for what I paid. All right, folks, see you on the next one.